Come on. It played on 2x playback. You're just turning it up one octave. So it's the same content, just played at twice the speed. It's a form of time compression. It's a form of time magic, really. 8 hours of content in 4 hours. That's a lot. That's good. I do the same thing with audiobooks too. Which what I was getting at before is we have the Eyes of Sunset, where the first of Av in the 9 days begins. No more music, but that doesn't mean audiobooks. The music, the purpose of me listening to music all the time is it cancels out the negative vibrations, the negative energy that's around me. Makes like a nice force field. It helps me maintain my state and also always be connected. I'm not ever not connected anymore. There was a time early on where I would kind of bounce back and forth, but it's not like that anymore. Now I'm always there, connected on high. Vav. He who is connected above shall never stumble below. I felt good getting all that out. I feel better getting that out. Thank you. Thank you, Hashem. This has been a really long week. This last week of the month, the third quarter to the new moon, the energy is compressing, or it's decreasing. Dark energy is on the rise, light energy is on the decline. Now, you must feel like $1 million on the week from the new moon to the first quarter moon. You would think, but no. It's actually the first quarter moon, the week of the first quarter moon is the hardest. It's harder than the week of the third quarter moon. Because the darkness doesn't want to let go. And it's over the course of that week, that first week, where we're shedding. Like, so here, let me back it up a little bit. So yesterday, I had all of these amazing insights and breakthroughs and boom, 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 boom. Things are just come flying. Everything's going amazing. It serves as a precursor for what's to come. But now, over the next week, is when we have to molt and shed everything that's getting in the way of being in that state at a more permanent degree. Well, I mean, for the time being, because we're going through monthly cycles. This is a monthly cycle. It's just like it's a menstruation period for a man. It's an energetic menstrual cycle, an emotional menstrual cycle, a spiritual menstrual cycle. Because now that I see all of the miracles and the blessings, I now have to let go of all of those parts of me that can't believe it or don't want to believe it. And that's the work that we started last week. On the third quarter moon, I connected to some older aspects of myself, some older versions of myself from 2008 or 2005 up until 2018. And I've been reintegrating them into my system. But at that time in my life, this was impossible. So there's parts of me that are still having a little bit of a tough time grasping what's going on, because they still think it's 2005, they still think it's 2008, they still think they live in Tom's River. They don't want to let go, but we're at a point where I got to kick the door in and drag them out by the hair and go, tough shit. I don't know what to tell you. Like, we're here now. And this is the way. So take it or leave it. And again, I have Hashem to guide me. It's not, I've been doing this for long enough that I know how it works. I know what comes after this. And tomorrow, for instance, I have to call a police officer and explain to her why I haven't been paying my alimony in the past 5 years. Why? Because I don't observe that. I don't recognize it. I don't agree with it. And for all intents and purposes, my company doesn't make any money, so I don't make any money. I work for free. I serve God out of the goodness of my heart, so I don't have anything to give you. See, like that fear of having to talk to the police, that's a test. And of course it's going to be on that day. It's going to be tomorrow. Hashem loves throwing a monkey wrench. He loves throwing a monkey wrench into things, always on the first of the month. It's like clockwork. But that's the beauty of it. This woman probably thinks she's going to get into this call and she's going to give this guy a piece of his mind. Who the hell does he think he is, not following the law? It's not that I don't follow the law. It's just that's not the law I follow. I can't pay alimony to a woman who was cheating on me. I can't pay alimony to a woman who walked out on me. I can't pay alimony to a woman that took my son away from me. I can't pay alimony to someone that I don't even know. You know? So, no thank you. This time last year, I was going through something similar with a corporation. So this is just another test. This is Hashem wanting me to put my big boy pants on and stand up to the system and go, no. I'm okay with that. I'm scared, but so is the life of a Jew, right? What did Mordecai say when Haman's henchman pulled him aside? Why don't you bow? Why aren't you bowing like everybody else? Because I'm a Jew. Why aren't you bowing down to the demands of the court? Because I'm a Jew. It's not going to be a popular answer, but what do you want me to tell you? You want me to make one up? You want me to pretend like it's not real? I don't give a fuck about it. I can't bother myself with what you want and do not want to believe. This is my life. And my life's a priority. And paying some lady alimony, she needs alimony, but she got enough money to get Miley Cyrus veneers in her mouth. Hey. That kid turned 17 the other day. I'm not going to hear from him on my birthday. I'm not going to hear from him ever again. Until he wants something. But it's like the voice told me when I was younger. These people aren't your family. These people are demons wrapped in human skin. I know. They have to pretend. They can't tell me what they are. I see it. I could see through things. Which is one of the more challenging, which is one of the more painful aspects of all this is you see through everything and everyone. You can find the redeeming qualities. It's not that. It's just because you see it doesn't mean that anybody else can see it. And when you're the only person that can see something, To everybody else, it's not there. It doesn't exist. And what you think is redeeming in one person, that's probably the part of themselves that they hate the most. Long time ago, not that long ago, maybe 2016, 2017, I remember smoked some pot. And I saw my wife and my son. And I'm looking at them, and the voice came through and told me, do you know what it told me? What? Are you out of your mind thinking like that? These two, there's a conspiracy against you personally. It's been going on longer than you possibly can imagine. That conspiracy is to keep you from remembering who you really are. There are people in the world right now who are actively, proactively doing everything in their power to ensure that they break you down so that you cannot reach your highest potential, because if you do, they're fucked. And these two people that you think is your wife and that you think is your child, they're not. They were hired, not in the traditional sense, not in the literal sense, but they were brought on to confuse you. Their job, whether they are consciously aware of it or not, but their job is to hold you down. And one day, you're going to see it. I've seen it. There's a scene from the last Matrix movie that came out, Resurrections. And I was kind of blown away that this would even be shown, or that there wasn't like an outrage towards it. But Trinity, the woman, the female Neo, she had a husband and she had 2 kids. And at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, when she has her opportunity to be unplugged from the Matrix for good, they use her children against her. Mommy, where are you going? Because the system, the Matrix itself, was doing its goddamn best to keep her locked in. And she did it. She broke free. She didn't fall for the, mommy. She didn't fall for it. She upped and left her children, essentially. Mind you, her children weren't really her children. They were programs. Can you imagine that? Do you have any idea what that's like? I do. To be the only real person. Because everybody else wears a mask. I didn't know who the hell my wife was. I see it now. I understand it now. I don't know who they were. I never saw the real them. But they never saw the real me either because I was too afraid. Where do we go from here? We keep on living life. I had a headache. That's a lot. My back's achy. I've been sleeping on a crummy bed for 6 years. A little tiny bed. I used to sleep in a bed that could fit 3 people in it. With a house with 2 floors. I had my own living room. I had 2 couches. A kitchen. You never had those things. They were never yours. I know. I'm remembering them for some reason, though. The Lord would not have me remember them if it wasn't for a purpose. Maybe just to remind me of... Maybe to remind me that was the best that you could do when you were living off the toil of your hands. You haven't even seen what's possible when you allow me, capital M, to guide you. This little rinky-dink room that you got right now, this is nothing. Imagine that again. King bed. Silk blankets. Exotic fabrics. The most comfortable mattress you can ever possibly imagine. A work desk where you can write. A refrigerator that's never empty. And so much money that you don't even have to think about it anymore. It's just there. You want to order Taco Bell? You want to get DoorDash Taco Bell at 11 o'clock at night? Have at it. Get extra. And don't even worry about the tip. Because if the person who doesn't, if the driver doesn't like the tip, then they can get another job. You have a driver. You never have to drive again unless you want to. Can't even drive. I don't have a license. Everything is gone. The only thing I have is a passport at this point. That is all I have. My clothes. These aren't even my clothes. These clothes belong to the Toxic Order LLC. Everything I have is on loan. My books, my pens, my journals. Well, the journals, those are property. That's God's property. The whole thing is, I don't know. I don't care. Just... I don't know. We've been seeing all the things that you've been putting online. You gotta get out of here. Get out. Alright. Head. Oh, goodness. 18 minutes. I think I lost a lot of the point. So what do I do most of my days? I write. I do this. I read. I do a lot of reading. At the moment, I'm reading The Gate of Trust, The Five Rings, Prior Analytics by Aristotle. Ah, he's a well-read man, yes. Of a mountain of books. This is my penultimate cigarette. It was worth it, though. Thank you, Hashem. Why don't you talk about your Torah experience? Right, so I was on this day last year. Rabbi Mishnik, he was explaining how after the destruction of the Second Temple, Rabbi Judah, the prince, he commissioned the oral law be written down, which apparently which was against the law. And this took me aback, because the more that I started to learn about the construction of the Talmud, the more I started to understand, like, yo, these guys are kind of like renegades. Like, they just do whatever they want. Rabbi was telling the story about how Moshiach came. Literally, Moshiach was there. And he was performing all of these miracles. And he kept telling them, he's like, listen, I'm the guy. And they said, nah. Yeah, but watch, I can do this. Nah. And then Rabbi said, the voice of God himself came down from the heavens and said to the rabbis, he's the one. And they said, nah. And then Rabbi starts laughing. He starts laughing, and then he speaks for God and goes, well, see, the nice thing, even God couldn't even convince the rabbis to change their mind. Even God celebrated. Why would God celebrate rabbis defying a direct order? That's where I was like, okay, there's something fishy going on here. You know what, maybe it's time that I read this book for myself, because it was in January of 2017 where I had this vision that I needed to learn Hebrew so that I can read Torah on my own. And don't get all excited. I can't read it like a rabbi, but I can read the alphabet. I just can't read words. What do you mean? Each letter represents something. Each letter represents something. Each letter tells a story. The story of Aleph graduates into the story of Bet, graduates into the story of Gimel, graduates into the story of Dalet, and on and on and on and on and on and on, up until Tav, which is where we achieve a state of perfection. When we finally have the mark anointed onto our foreheads by the King himself. But that's just the first half of the journey. Hebrew can be read right to left as well. Left to right. So the progressive story from Aleph to Tav, you can read it from Tav to Aleph, where the first is last and the last is first. Now there's a trick. There's a trick to this, because the evolution of the alphabet alters drastically, because you have to achieve that state of perfection. You need a score. You need to get a perfect score on your thought, speech, and action. But at the same time, you need to be able to recognize your own perfection. I am perfect, but my perfection is only the product of the perfect one. My perfection is a flaw. Is the most hideous type of flaw in relation to the perfection that is God. And if not for him putting me on the path, if not for him designing me to be perfect, I'd be nothing. I'd be trash. Now, once we could see it, now we could go backwards. From Tav to Aleph, which tells a different story. It completes the story. But there's a trick. When we go from Aleph to Tav, we don't count the Safed letters. We just go letter by letter. But when we go from Tav to Aleph, we replace the Safed letters, take precedence. So from Aleph to Tav, we focus on open mem. From Tav to Aleph, open mem is replaced by closed mem, which makes a lot more sense when you do it that way. Because open mem is just kind of like an initiatory phase. It's an initiatory evolution. Closed mem is mem in its perfect form. And that's what the Safed letters represent, are those letters in their perfect form. But you can only see the perfection in them in relation to their imperfect form once you have achieved perfection by making it from Aleph to Tav and graduating through all of those trials of soul evolution. That's what it's about. It's about detaching the material self from the divine self, from the Akida. Initially, Aleph is that initial eureka moment where you can see it, where you can feel it. You know that there's the other, that other self, that future self, the higher self, that version of you that's in the world to come. The one who's standing next to God going, come on, this way. And when we get to Beit, once we have that realization, then we graduate to Beit. And Beit, that's us clearing out the house. We got to get all the clutter out. We got to get all the shit out. We got to clear the vessel. And clear out all the evil and the gunk that's been weighing us down and preventing us from seeing it. Preventing us from trusting it. The more that you release, the more that you receive. The more that he sees that you're willing to release, the more that he's willing to give you back. You can't catch a watermelon, you can't catch a coconut while you're holding a watermelon. An old rotten, stinky watermelon. You gotta drop that motherfucker. Then Hashem throws you all the coconuts you want. Here, have 3. And Gamel, the rich man that's chasing after the poor man. That's your future self again, going, I told you. Come on, we're almost there. I got all this shit that I'm carrying. Here's everything I need you to let go of. The riches, he's not giving you the donations, the riches that he's handing you. He's rich in spirit. Now that's the doorway, and the beggar. With his head out. Because once you get a taste of it, you want more. I knew this fucking world was an illusion. I knew it. I remember when I was a kid, it was like a splinter in your mind's eye. It's just something just behind, there's something behind all this. I can't see it, I can't taste it, I can't touch it, but I know it's there. I can hear it. I can feel it. I can literally feel this invisible force. And I don't know what the hell it is, but it's calling to me. You received the call? Yeah. It's been calling to me my entire life. I told you, when I was 12, it told me. You have to live first. And that made sense last year once I started reading Genesis. Because once we got up once I got to the story of Abraham, that's when it started to make sense. That's when I started to recognize my life being reflected to me through him. Because the way that God spoke to Abraham is the same way that God spoke to me. Even going on these strange missions, these strange adventures. Sent me off to LA once. I thought I was going there to die. No. No. I'm sending you there so I can show you how protected you really are. That's why I'm sending you to the worst part. And you're just gonna walk around. Trust your intuition, trust your inner guidance to take you. See where it leads. Have fun. I'll see you when you get home. A stranger in a strange land. The hard part, Rabbi, the hard part it's not hard. It's actually easy. If you don't care, if you live or die, once you have nothing to lose, once you walk away from everything, it's not that nothing matters anymore, just things matter in a different way. And once you have, the less that you have weighing you down, the more clearly you can hear him. Her. I was working with her before the Great Mother is who introduced me to the Great Father. But because of the experiences that I had up until the point last year, reading Genesis was... How do you say it? Like I couldn't understand why people don't understand this stuff, why people don't get it. What do you mean you don't see it? The book's an instruction manual. It's an instruction manual on how to recognize God, how he speaks, how he reveals himself. It's hot. I need some cold water. I need a stretch. I need food. I feel kind of low. I'm gonna start walking home now. Ay. No, I want to lie down and I want to close my eyes for a little bit, which is gonna get in the way of my monthly review. But I remember how this month went. Try empathizing with me. That's the message that I continually leave for myself. Yeah, exactly. This is the best Tammuz ever, but oh my God, this was probably one of the most challenging months of my life. I don't have any I have under $1 in my bank account, so I don't know where food comes from sometimes. I have to rely on Hashem. And be grateful when things work out, and they do. I mean, I live with my mother and my brother. I'm not a celebrated person. It's not like I walk in a house and everybody cheers. A lot of times I walk in a house and people just ignore the fact that I'm even walking in the house. But I do the same thing. I prefer to stay to myself because I don't have anything to report. I don't have anything to tell anybody. How was your day? It was good. Yeah, what happened? Well, I just reviewed. I realized that on this moon last year, the Leo new moon last year, this is new moon that I first started doing the monthly reviews. And I've kept up with it for a year. It's the best. God showed me more confirmation that I'm the one. People don't want to know that. They just want waste of money. My mother told me a while ago, just show me the money. I want nothing to. I don't need to know. I don't need to know what you're doing. Nobody wants to know what I'm doing, and that's fine. I mean, at least not overtly. Does anybody in my family know that God's been showing me that I'm the King Jew? I'm allowed to say that because there's nobody around. And even if there was people that were watching this and were like, oh shit, we gotta kill this guy. You can't, because Hashem won't let you. That's what he told me. He said no one can lay a finger on you. And if it seems like they're going to, that's because I'm using you as bait. Alright, that sounds kind of exciting. You see, something I've learned through Torah, and especially when God is punishing the Jewish people, there's a reason for it. Think of it like developing software. The developers, from time to time, they need to debug the system, debug the program so that they can make sure everything is running properly. So when God comes through and punishes us, not that he's not even punishing us. He's not punishing us. What he's doing, he's clearing out he's squashing the bugs. Like for instance with Balaam and Balak. When the Midianite women, when Balaam told Balak to use the Midianite women to corrupt the Israelites, Balaam was still under contract, meaning he still was only allowed to say, he was still only allowed to say the words that God put in his mouth. God told him to do that. Because God knew that there was weak links. He knew that there were corruptibles. There were Israelites that were capable of being corrupted, and he didn't have time for it. For the next phase of the plan, the invasion of Canaan, those people wouldn't work with them. So the 24,000 that died, it was to help make room. Can't catch a coconut unless you drop the watermelon. That was the nation dropping a whole lot of watermelons. You're not who you were anymore. That's why all the memories are coming back. So you can make your peace, let go, and move on. Think of it like when your father died. When your father died, that was a drastic change. Everything changed. Nothing ever went back to being the same after that. That's what's happening right now. These parts of yourself, these memories, these outdated versions. It's not like they're being punished. It's just, you gotta drop the watermelons. Because you got a whole bunch of coconuts that are waiting for you on the other side of this thing. Which is gonna make a lot more sense once you catch the first one. Once you catch the first watermelon, once you catch that first coconut, trust me, it's gonna be like, what? Now this week is gonna be a little bit tough. Because now, as of right now, the new moon peaked. Total occultation at 7 a.m. this morning. And ever so incrementally, the light is coming back. Now the dark energy, the dark forces are diminishing slowly. But they don't want to let go. But they don't have a choice. Which is going to make sense by the time we get to next week. Because next week you'll be able to look back on right now and not only understand why everything had to be exactly the way that it was, because that's a part of it. You'll be able to look back on right now and understand exactly why the next week has to be exactly the way that it is, but more importantly, once you drop all that dead weight, you feel like you walk on water. Right now, it feels like you got lead shoes on, yeah? Yeah. Exactly. That's a good thing. There comes a point in the future, you haven't seen it yet, and I don't want to spoil it. I'm not allowed to spoil it. But there comes a point in the future where these cycles, they take on a new meaning. Almost like the rules of the game are going to change. It's not going to be like this. I sense struggle. You're doing amazing. You are a one-man army. You don't even realize it yet. Over these next weeks, over these next 2 months, well, over this next couple weeks, yeah. Next month is a month of pure review. You get to sit back for a little bit, take a breather, and do an inventory of everything. This year's 13 days of reflection is going to be the best ever, because you're going to get a chance to go back and look at this entire year, month by month, day by day, for 13 straight days. And you thought last year fucking blew your mind. You thought last year was a work of art? I can sense you. You're already remembering a lot of what happened this year. Try to imagine that you don't even have all the pieces put together yet. You're still in the middle of it. We're only in We're only in the 4th month. The 5th month hasn't even started yet. We still got like another hour or two till the 5th month starts. This month is going to be the best month of your life. Today may not seem that way. But also consider how much shit that you had to put up with. Not just from the people, but also from God. And God's, it's not like He's not, He wants you to be able to feel free enough to be pissed off. You're allowed to be pissed off at Him. There's nothing that says that you can't. Look at Job. Job, the victim. Job, the victim who was being treated unfairly. You're allowed to be a victim. You don't have to feel bad about it. Because what happened with Job? He wasn't afraid to speak his mind, and God came down and showed him. Yeah, God told him off. God gave him the business. But you already know the story. And whence the next phase begins, and it's a lot sooner than you realize. You're in the transition right now. Just like last year. Remember last year? Remember last year during a lull? You saw it. You sensed the shift from one reality to the next. Let's wait. This next one's gonna be so much cooler. What else? What else can I say to you that nobody else is going to say to you? What can I say? You're doing amazing. Nobody else can see it. I can see it though. If I wasn't telling you the truth, you wouldn't be here. I can only speak what Hashem, the words that Hashem puts in my mouth. This last year, how do I say it? This is like kindergarten. You're about to graduate into 1st grade. It's exciting. I know, it's a little scary, but it's like going to a new school. Good chance you're going to be the odd man out, but look at Harry Potter. You're like the Harry Potter of the Jews. Literally. You're a wizard. There's that Samaritan blood. Gives you a little extra kick. little spice. Shit. And next year, here's another thing too. Next year, when you're looking back on today, I don't have.
Good stuff, Derek.
It's just, I feel like I need to rest. Dread. All right, that was just an hour. That was the first one, like an hour, 45 minutes, half hour. Give yourself a pat on the back. You earned it.